Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Baiju's Exam Prep IAS. This is Sham Kagud here. Now, before I start the discussion, if there is no issue with the sound, can you please give me a thumbs up so that I know that I'm audible and I can start the discussion? Anybody, please do let me know. Done. Let's start. Let's start then. So, last week, what we have discussed, we discussed basically the concept of subsidies, correct? Subsidies. What are subsidies? Subsidies are basically the financial assistance given by the government. The financial assistance can be in the form of money, that is in the form of cash, can also be in the form of a kind. So either cash or kind assistance is provided by the government. Then we have discussed a classification of subsidies, or before classification, why the subsidy is actually required: to promote consumption of certain goods or services, to ensure that the raw materials or inputs are cheaper, to promote exports, right, etc., etc. So these are some of the reasons why we actually promote, government actually provides subsidies. Then we have discussed, if subsidies are provided, what is the issue, what is the concern if at all subsidy is given. The concern is that, one, the expenditure of government of India, or for that matter the state government expenditure, will be higher. That's taken, that's granted. So the expenditure would start increasing. That's point number one. And point number two, whatever subsidies are provided, most of the times, if these are not targeted to the beneficiaries, these will become inefficient in nature. Inefficient simply means the subsidies are provided, but not to right people, right? Leakages can happen. Subsidies are provided, and multiple beneficiaries can be there. Subsidies are provided, right, but these are consumed by rich people also, etc. So there are certain concerns regarding providing even subsidies to consumers in the market or to beneficiaries in the market. Then we have discussed a classification of subsidy: direct, indirect, right? The concept, the idea of the universal subsidies, targeted subsidies, explicit subsidies, implicit subsidies, etc., etc. So different types of subsidies classification we have discussed. Then we have discussed subsidies in agriculture sector. For example, we have discussed a fertilizer subsidy. Why does government provide fertilizer subsidy? If they are providing, then what is the concern? How much subsidies are they providing? What kind of fertilizers are there, etc., etc. Then we have discussed reforms in case of fertilizer sector also. Reforms in fertilizer sector. For example, direct benefit transfer in fertilizer we have discussed. So please have a look at it. Then we have discussed what is a direct benefit transfer, DBT. What is direct benefit transfer? We have discussed. Basically, the idea for DBT is it's a program, it's an initiative of Government of India wherein more than 300 types of the kind subsidies or the cash subsidies are provided by the government. More than 300 types of schemes are covered under the direct benefit transfer. Under direct benefit transfer, you would simply identify the beneficiary and ensure that the right beneficiary will get the subsidy. That's a basic idea for direct benefit transfer. And after that, we have discussed the concept of e-rupee, right? The digital voucher concept of e-rupee. Now, in case of e-rupee, what is it? It's basically a digital voucher payment system wherein by identifying the beneficiary, they are going to transfer the benefit, which they are going to use it for specific purposes, right? For specific purposes. They are allowed to use it only for specific purposes. Otherwise, the voucher will become useless. So it is a contactless, right? It is a person specific, purpose specific, etc. Then what are the advantages? What are the concerns regarding e-rupee? We have discussed it. Then how e-rupee actually can be utilized? We have seen certain processes. Please go through that. Then we have discussed a concept of WTO and the subsidies. Idea of WTO and the subsidies. Now, in case of WTO and subsidies, what you need to remember? World Trade Organization, there is one agreement, Agreement on Agriculture, AOA, Agreement on Agriculture. In case of agreement on agriculture, there are three very important pillars. The first important pillar is the idea of a domestic support. Under domestic support, we further divide the subsidies given by government to agriculture sector under three heads. One is a amber box, second one is a green box, third one is a blue box. Amber box will consist of all those subsidies, that is assistance provided by the government, which will create distortion in the market. For example, fertilizer subsidy, for example, MSP. After that, there is a green box subsidy. These will not create any distortion or negligible distortion. And these are green box subsidies. Now, in case of amber box, there is a limitation, de minimis level, that is the amount of subsidy that you are supposed to provide should be limited to 10% of value of production. That is in case of amber box subsidy. Whereas in case of green box subsidy, there is no limitation. You can provide as much amount of subsidies under the green box. Then we have discussed the rejection, why government of India is opposed to the idea of de minimis level. Why is government of India opposed to this idea of 10% limitation on amber box? Right, because population is very high, the population which is involved in agriculture sector is very high, etc., etc. Then in order to address this, there is one provision which is called as a peace clause. And a peace clause, government of India basically says, even if I cross the 10% limit, then other developed countries will not be allowed to file a complaint against me under World Trade Organization. So that is what we have covered in the last week. So let me continue with the discussion of the next chapter. Now, before I go forward, as usual, every week I've given around 17 articles in this week. Please go through all these 17 articles. All the 17 articles are very, very important. All the 17 are very, very important. Please go through all these 17 articles. Done? Now, let me start with the next chapter now. The next chapter will be agriculture and food processing. The next chapter that we'll be discussing will be agriculture and food processing. Now, in this chapter, what will be the area? What will be the coverage? We'll start with the MSP, minimum support price. We'll discuss food subsidy and food security, credit in the agriculture sector, then the concept of a storage or warehousing, then marketing, APMC as well as a ENAM, technology usage in the agriculture sector, and promotion of food processing industries in India. Let's go point by point. So, point number one, minimum support price. MSP stands for minimum support price. Now, what is this MSP? MSP is the price that is paid by the government whenever they procure the food grain from the farmers. Very simple. Any problem, please do let me know. What is MSP? MSP stands for the price which is paid by the government whenever they will purchase the food grain from the farmers. Now, if you ask me, sir, why does the government actually purchase the food grain? Is there any particular reason? Why are they purchasing food grain? They are purchasing food grain for the purposes of distribution. Very simple. They are purchasing the food grains for the purposes of distribution. For example, please do let me know. Earlier classes, did we discuss a concept called as NFSA? Not completely. Today we'll discuss it. Please do let me know. In earlier classes, did we discuss what is NFSA? I have not covered it completely. Today I'll cover it. Somebody please reply. Nobody is willing to reply. Either say yes or say no. Did we anywhere come across the idea of NFSA? Thanks a lot. Two people replied. Right. So NFSA, we have covered it. Sir, where did you cover it? Subsidies. Under the concept of subsidy, I said government will provide free food grains to the beneficiaries. That is basically NFSA. What are the provisions under that? Today we'll discuss it. So one, why government will purchase the food grains? Because the government wants to distribute the food grains. We have National Food Security Act. Under that, we want to provide free food grains. That is one reason. Second reason is a very simple, so that they will maintain buffer stocks and supply buffer stocks in the market. Now, what do you mean by buffer stock? What is the use of it? Is there any concern regarding this? You'll understand in some time. Please don't worry. Now, come back to your point here. Whenever government wants food grains for distribution purposes or maintenance of the buffer purposes, government will purchase the food grains, and what price the government will pay, that is called as minimum support price. Now, the idea for minimum support price was introduced back in 1960s, specifically 1966, 1967. The reason was very simple. During 1960s, government started promoting green revolution. Government started promoting green revolution. What do you mean by green revolution? In simple terms, government started promoting utilization of high yield variety seeds. They started promoting uses of high yield variety seeds. That is, these seeds, if they are used for cultivation, they will give you high yield. So they started promoting utilization of high yield variety seeds. They promoted irrigation. They promoted utilization of fertilizer, etc. And all of this led to higher production in the agriculture sector, which is called as a green revolution. So as a result of green revolution, the production and supply of food grains to the market will start increasing. And when supply will increase, the market prices will start falling down. All of you okay with this? The production will increase and so will be the supply. And when the production and supply increases, what will happen to market prices? The market prices will fall and the farmers will start suffering because of these lower market prices. That is the precise reason, in order to provide certain comfort to the farmers, to provide certain solution to the farmers, government introduced the concept of minimum support price, wherein they would purchase and pay a fixed amount of price to the farmers. This is point number 2. Point number 3, when is the MSP announced? When is the MSP announced? MSP is announced before the sowing season starts. I will repeat the statement here. MSP is announced before the start of the sowing season, before the onset of the sowing season. The government says, I will announce it before the sowing season so that farmers will come to know what is the price that I will pay, and based on the prices, they can take a decision what crop should they cultivate. That is a precise reason. Before the start of the sowing season, MSP is announced by the government. Point number 4, for how many crops MSP is announced? Government of India's website says for 23 crops. For 23 crops, the government will announce. And when I say government, please understand the sequence here. First, there is an authority called as a CACP, Commission for Agriculture Cost and Prices. The CACP will give recommendation to the government, that is Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs. And it is this Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs which will decide, I repeat, which will decide the MSP. You should be very clear with this. Please do let me know if there are any doubts right now. The Cabinet Committee will decide what is MSP, but the recommendation of MSP will come from Commission for Agriculture Cost and Prices. CACP is an office which functions under Ministry of Agriculture. Done. So there are 23 crops on which government announces MSP before the sowing season will start. Let me go to point number 5 now. This is a list of all the crops. I repeat, this is the list of all the crops on which MSP is announced. But please be focused on one crop here, sugar cane. Focus now. Please be focused on one crop, that is sugar cane. In case of sugarcane, what happens? In case of sugarcane, right, I'll tell you the sequence here. In case of sugarcane, the government announces FRP. FRP, what is FRP? Fair and remunerative prices. Fair and remunerative prices. FRP stands for fair and remunerative prices. Now, in case of sugarcane, what happens? Imagine here is a farmer. The farmer will cultivate sugarcane, sell the sugarcane to the mill owner. Now this mill owner will purchase this sugarcane, use the sugarcane to convert into sugar and sell it in the market. Sell it in the market. Is the sequence okay with all of you? Is the sequence okay? So farmer will cultivate sugarcane, sell it to the mill owner. Now the mill owner will convert that into sugar, sell it in the market to consumers, to buyers in the market. Now the concern is that if the mill owner will decide what is the price, I hope you understand this. If the mill owner will decide what is the price of the sugarcane, the mill owner might simply abuse the farmers here. Abuse in the sense, farmers do not have any kind of negotiation power here. If the mill owner will delay deciding the price for the sugarcane by 2 days, by 3 days, by 4 days, the sucrose level, that is the liquid sucrose level which is present in the sugar cane, will start depleting very fast. So that is the reason the mill owners might simply. Okay, am I audible? Some of you are saying I'm not audible. Am I audible? Please do let me know. Am I audible? Give me a thumbs up, say yes, say no, whatever is the right answer. Please do let me know. I'm audible to all of you? Done. Thank you. So some of you said I was not audible. That's the reason I had to refresh the page. Okay, let's continue now. Imagine the mill owner has the right, has the power to decide what is the price of the sugar cane. Now, please tell me, don't you think the mill owner, in order to purchase it at a very low price, they will delay purchasing the sugar cane or not? Correct? They will delay purchasing the sugarcane. And if they delay purchasing the sugarcane, the farmers is at the mercy of the buyer, that is a mill owner, and they might end up selling it at a very, very low price. That is the precise reason. Please remember this. In the context of sugarcane, the government announces the FRP, but it is the mill owner who will pay FRP to the farmer. Can I go forward now? Any problem? Can I go forward? The FRP is announced by the government, but government doesn't procure, doesn't purchase sugarcane. It is purchased by the mill owner, but the mill owner has to pay the FRP to the farmer, fair and remunerative prices. This is point number 5. And if you ask me, sir, should we remember the list of the 23 crops given in the slide here? My recommendation is please do try to remember the list of all these crops. UPSC has asked a question earlier, can ask questions again as well. So please be very, very careful. Now, let me go to point number 6. Although government of India announces MSP for more than 20 crops, government doesn't purchase all of these crops. I'll repeat the statement here. Although Government of India announces MSP for more than 20 crops, government doesn't purchase, doesn't procure all of these crops. The reason is very simple. Under, let's say, any of these food distribution programs, mainly government will distribute rice and wheat. Is it okay? I'll repeat the statement. Mainly under these food distribution programs, government requires rice and wheat. And that is the precise reason. Please remember, most of the procurement, most of the food grains that is purchased by the government from the market is basically the rice as well as wheat. Any problem in understanding this point? Because they mainly distribute rice and wheat, government will purchase mostly rice and wheat in the market. But what about other crops? If they require, for example, sometimes they will purchase pulses from the market, sometimes they will purchase coarse grains from the market. So whatever is the requirement, they will purchase only those crops from the market for distribution purposes. These are the 6 very important points. Seventh very important point: MSP is not mentioned in the Constitution of India. There is no law regarding MSP. Please remember this point. Very recently, a lot of current affairs is happening around this. I'll repeat it. The term MSP, it is not even mentioned in the Constitution, and there is no law regarding MSP in India. It is through the executive power of the government of India that they provide MSP. Means what? Let me know. If tomorrow government of India wants to withdraw MSP policy, can they do it? Please participate now. Tomorrow, if government of India wants to withdraw MSP policy, can they do it? Can they simply say, because it is not any requirement, there is no law regarding this, I will not pay MSP to you people? They can simply do it, right? They can simply withdraw the policy of MSP. And that is a concern. That's a concern which many of the farmers in the last couple of years have been raising. They have been asking government of India to bring a law which says that government should provide MSP. Government should provide guaranteed MSP to the farmers. Now, point number 7, right, or whatever the sequence number is. The central government will announce and pay MSP. The center That is, a cabinet committee announces and pays minimum support price. In addition to this, if the states want, they are also allowed to announce bonus. I will repeat the statement here. Central government will announce the MSP. In addition to the MSP, if the states want, they can announce and pay bonus. Meaning what? Let's take a very simple example here. Imagine I'm a farmer. I've cultivated crop X. And let's say on crop X, Government of India, Cabinet Committee has announced MSP of 1000 rupees, and my state government, that is the state where I'm residing, my state government has announced a bonus of 200 rupee. So MSP of 1000, bonus of 200 rupee. So in this case, I'll be getting 1200 rupee in total. I'll be getting in total 1200 rupees or 1200 rupees. This is basically how bonus is announced by the states, and right, the MSP is announced by the central government. Can we go to the next one? Can we go to the next point? Anybody has a problem with whatever I've discussed so far? Please do let me know. Can I go forward? Anybody has an issue? Right? Most of you are saying, sir, please go forward. If anybody has an issue, please do let me know so that I can repeat it and I can go forward. Okay, nobody has any doubt. So let's go forward now. So fair and remunerative price, this is a basic idea. And MSP, this is a basic idea. Now, last point regarding this. In case of sugarcane, remember this. In case of sugarcane, I said center will announce FRP. Correct? In case of sugarcane, center will announce FRP, fair and remunerative prices. Now, states, in addition to the central government announcing FRP, the states are allowed to announce ESAP, that is the state advisory prices. The state advisory prices. ESAP, state advisory price. Now, in case of sugarcane, please remember this. Whichever is greater is paid. I'll repeat the statement. Whichever is greater is paid to the farmer by the mill owner. If the FRP is greater, the mill owner will pay FRP. If a state advisory prices is greater, right, the mill owner will pay the SAP, state advisory prices. So these are certain very important points regarding the concept of MSP. Now, how is the MSP decided? Very often in the newspaper, you'll come across this point. MSP is nothing but 150% of cost of production. I repeat, MSP is nothing but 150% of cost of production. Now, what is this idea of a cost of production? Let me address it. Right? Let me address what is this idea of cost of production. Let me start. Imagine I'm a farmer. Okay, I'll start cultivating. I'll go to the market, purchase certain seeds, and start cultivating a crop. Now, please understand, there are multiple ways through which cost of production is actually calculated. But for UPSC, you please understand only three types, more than sufficient. I repeat, there are multiple ways through which a CACP will calculate cost of production. For UPSC, you simply understand only three types. And if you're reading the newspapers, these are the three types which will be mentioned. First one is called as a A2. It is there in the previous slide. First one is called as A2. Second one is called as a A2 plus FL. And the third one is called as C2. Okay, I'll repeat it. First one is called as A2. Second one is A2 plus FL. Third one is called as a C2. Now, what is this A2? What is A2 plus FL? And what is this C2? Let me explain it. Now, what is this A2? A2 basically considers whatever general inputs you will provide or on which you will spend money, right, for cultivation purposes. I'll repeat it. What does A2 consist of? A2 consists of the money that farmer will spend on purchasing certain inputs. For example, imagine I'll purchase fertilizers. Imagine I will purchase fertilizers, plus I'll purchase seeds, I'll purchase irrigation equipment, that is electricity, etc. Plus, I will also use labor for cultivation purposes. And let's say hypothetically, just hypothetical number, 100 rupee, 200 rupee, 300 rupee, and 400 rupee. So in this case, the cost of production, the cost of production will be 1000 rupees. In this case, the cost of production will be 1000 rupees. Now, this methodology is called as A2 cost of production. Anybody has a problem, please do let me know. This methodology is called as A2 cost of production. What is this A2 cost of production? Please have a look at it. It will cover all the input expenses. I repeat, it will cover all the input expenses incurred by the farmer, such as seeds, fertilizers, labor, power, water, etc. That is basically called as A2 type of cost of production. Now let me go to the second one here, A2 plus FL. If there is no issue with anybody, if there is no one who is going to ask me a question on this, I'll go forward. Can I go forward now? A2 plus EFL, right? A2 plus EFL and C2. Can I go forward? Anybody has a problem with A2? Nobody has a doubt. Again, I don't know whether you're from batch 4, batch 5. I don't know, Baba. If you are a weekend batch and the schedule was economics for you, you can attend the class. Right? I don't know for which batch. I don't have that schedule with me right now. Whether your batch number 3, 4, 5 doesn't matter. If you have been attending economics classes for the last 1 week, then you can, sorry, last 4 to 5 weeks, then you can start. Okay. Okay. So no question on A2. Let me go ahead. So basically A2 means what? Whatever the farmer will spend for purchasing the inputs, that is called as sum total of it is called as A2 cost of production. Now let me go to the next one here. A2 plus FL. What is A2 plus FL? In case of A2, we have considered only the cost of inputs. But in case of A2 plus FL, there is one more component which is called as a family labor. There is one more component called as family labor. Now, what is this family labor? Let me take the same example. Imagine I'm a farmer. I will use, right, let's say fertilizer 100 rupee, seeds 200, irrigation 300, and a labor 400. So, total cost of cultivation for inputs for me will be how much? 1000 rupee. But what if in addition to two people, let's say per labor, I paid per labor, I paid 200 rupees. So in addition to these two people who have worked on the field, what if I am also working on the field? I hope you understand. There are two people who are working. I've counted 400 rupee already. But in addition to these two people, I am also working on the field, which means I will have to take 400 rupee for 2 units of labor plus 200 rupee, which is my work on the field, because I'm a family labor. Family labor means the people who are belonging to the owner of the land. Simple. People who are belonging to the family of owner of the land or farmer himself. So farmer, when they will cultivate on their own land, they will not pay wages to themselves. So that wage also we will have to count it here. So if I take A2, A2 value was 1000 rupee. Now if I take A2 plus EFL, if I take A2 plus EFL, can I say the value here will be 1200 rupees? Anybody has a problem? Can I say value here will be 1200 rupee? So A2 will be the cost of input plus EFL, family labor. Earlier I did not count the family labor. Now I'll count the value of the family labor as well. This is A2 plus EFL. Now third one, C2. Third one is C2. C2 is the most comprehensive measure of counting the input cost or measuring the input cost. Now what is done in the C2? All these costs, all these costs which I've incurred earlier, plus in addition to this, I will also count land rentals paid or received, interest that has been foregone on owned land, and investment on the fixed capital asset. What do you mean by this? Let me take a very simple example here. Imagine I have 100 rupees. Okay, simple example. Imagine I have 100 rupees. Now, this 100 rupee, if I take it and keep it in the bank, will I earn interest on it? Please do let me know. Participate now. Most of you have gone dormant. I'll repeat it. In case of this 100 rupee, I will take this 100 rupee and keep it in the bank. Will I earn interest on it? Yes, I will earn interest. But rather than doing this, what if I take this 100 rupee, invest in agriculture sector? I will purchase the seeds. I'll purchase machinery. I will purchase, right, let's say any other input, which means, can I say, by using this 100 rupee in the agriculture sector, I am foregoing interest. Let me know. I am foregoing interest, right? So because I am foregoing interest by utilizing this money in the agriculture sector, all of that will be counted here. So C2 will also factor in, apart from all the input cost, C2 will also factor in land rentals. If I'm using my own land, instead of giving it on rent, is it not rental foregone for me? Very simple question to you, right? Instead of giving this land on rent, I will use the land for cultivation, which means I'm foregoing land rental. So I'm foregoing interest on my capital investment. I'm foregoing, right, my bank interest. I'm foregoing my land rental. All of those will be counted. All of those will be counted when you calculate a C2. And that is the precise reason. That is the precise reason. Please understand now. C2 will be the largest number. C2 will be the largest. Compared to C2, A2 plus FL will be smaller, and compared to A2 plus FL, it will be A2. Which means between all the three, A2 will be the smallest and C2 will be the largest. This is basically how cost of production is calculated by CACP. This is how CACP will calculate cost of production, give it to government. But if you remember in the previous slide, I said MSP is 150% of cost of production. But now you will simply say, but sir, here you have mentioned three types of cost of production. Which is actually used? Which is the one which is used as a cost of production? It is actually, please remember this, A2 plus FL. It is actually A2 plus FL, right? So it is the A2 plus FL which will be taken as a cost of production, and 150% of it, 150% of it will be announced in the form of MSP. For example, let's say A2 plus FL is 600 rupees. For what crop? Don't worry. Let's say A2 plus FL is 600 rupee. So 150% of 600 will be how much? 150% of 600 will be 900 rupees. That will be the MSP announced by the government. In fact, I'll go to the next point as well. Between a C2, A2 plus FL and A2, all of you will agree C2 is the bigger one. Let me know. Between A2 plus FL, A2 and C2, which is the bigger one? It is, or which is the largest one? It is C2. Is Government of India announcing MSP based on C2? No, it is announcing MSP based on A2 plus FL. That is the precise reason there is a committee. Please remember this, Swaminathan Committee. There is a committee named Swaminathan Committee. Swaminathan Committee has recommended. Swaminathan Committee has recommended that government should announce MSP based on C2, not on A2 plus FL. Government should announce the MSP based on C2, not on A2 plus FL. But Government of India so far has not implemented it. Even today, they are announcing based on A2 plus FL itself. Now, some of you are worried about calculation. I will not answer to the questions on calculation. UPSC will not ask you calculations. Please don't fall into calculation trap. Right? Listen to me. Most of your concerned about calculation. You're asking me, sir, how 1,000 rupee, how 1,200, how interest rate is calculated. All of this is irrelevant for you. All of those are irrelevant. Trust me, UPSC will not test you there. What they will test you is the concept behind the cost of production. Simple idea. In A2, we'll simply consider whatever inputs are there. On the inputs, how much farmer will spend money. But in case of A2 plus FL, in addition to these inputs, farmer will also pay money, right? Theoretically, will pay money whenever they work, whenever the spouse will work on the field. That is family labor. So family labor plus A2 obviously will be greater than A2. And the third one, C2, which is more comprehensive, more comprehensive. All these are family labor cost, all the input cost, interest foregone, land rentals foregone, all of these will be calculated in C2. That's the reason I'm saying, again, I'll repeat it. C2 is bigger than A2 plus FL, which is bigger than A2. Right? And right now, government announces the MSP based on A2 plus FL, but the condition, sorry, the committee, Swaminathan committee says, don't announce it on A2 plus FL, please announce it on C2, which is yet to be done by government of India. Can we go forward now? Can we go forward? Now there is a, right, certain more points are there. Government doesn't procure all the crops under MSP, because under MSP, for how many crops do we announce MSP? 23. Does government require all the crops? Of course not. Government requires very few of them, mainly rice, that is paddy, mainly it requires wheat, it requires coarse grains, it requires pulses. So whatever food grains they will require for distribution purposes, they will purchase it from the market. And moreover, think of this also. Imagine I said government will purchase a paddy from the market, that is rice from the market. Please do let me know. Do you think government will purchase all the rice that is cultivated in India? In fact, we have answered this question last week also. Do you think government will procure all the rice that is cultivated in India? Of course, no. It doesn't have to, right? Based on the requirement, they will purchase. And that is the reason last week, if you ask me, sir, where did you discuss all of this? Last week, did we discuss why some of these countries under WTO, some of the countries under WTO, why they are opposing MSP policy of government of India? In fact, I gave you one more article to read last week. I hope you have read that article. If not, please do read those articles. So government does not procure all the crops covered under MSP. Many farmers make their own arrangement to sell them in the market because government will not procure all of them. There is a committee, high level committee. HLC stands for high level committee. HLC, which was headed by Shanta Kumar, right? Shanta Kumar has pointed out that only around 6% of the farmers actually get the benefit of MSP. Okay, only around 6% of the farmers that they surveyed were actually getting the benefit of MSP. Large number of farmers were cultivating other crops, were not able to sell to the government, right? And they were not covered under the ambit of MSP. And finally, the states, in addition to the MSP announced by the center, will announce bonus as well. I repeat, the states, in addition to announcing MSP, right, by the central government, will announce bonus. So these are certain important points regarding MSP. Now, there is a current affairs argument, current affairs topic now. Should there be a legal backing, legal recognition given to MSP? Because if you remember very carefully, I said, right now, MSP is not guaranteed under constitution. There is no law regarding MSP. So the central government, through its executive authority, is providing MSP. So now there is a lot of demand that government should introduce a law, bring in a bill to guarantee MSP to the farmers. If it is done, I don't think so government will do it. But if it is done, what are the advantages and what are the concerns? Let's go point by point. Point number one. Imagine government will bring a MSP law, introduce and get it passed in the parliament. Now, what does it mean? Don't you think it simply means now it becomes a legal right for the farmers to get MSP from the government of India? Let me know. If government will introduce a bill and under the bill they will introduce MSP, don't you think it will become a legal right for the government to provide, or legal obligation for the government to provide MSP to the farmers? So, one, more farmers will be covered under the MSP. That is for sure. More farmers will be covered under MSP. Will provide guaranteed returns to the farmers. Correct or not? Right now, imagine you cultivate rice. Simple question to all of you. Please think and start participating now. Imagine you cultivate rice. Any guarantee how much money you are going to earn by selling the rice in the market? Let me know. Any guarantee? What will the price you will be able to earn by selling this rice in the market? Absolutely no guarantee. You could earn 40 rupees, you could earn 60, you could earn 80, you could earn even 20 rupees. So there is no guarantee. But if government will bring MSP, now the farmer will take the rice and sell it to the government. Government cannot say no now because it is the duty of the government. It is a legal duty of the government. So farmer will get guaranteed returns. That is fixed. Second, many farmers who are not covered under the MSP now because they cultivated some other crop, or they were cultivating the same crop but government did not procure in that state. So many farmers who were earlier not covered now will also be getting the benefit of MSP. Right? Any problem with point number 1 and 2? Let me go to point number 3 now. Don't you think in recent times, let's say in the last 3 to 4 years, there is certain distress in the agriculture sector? Lot of farmers are not able to earn sufficient amount of returns. They have taken loans, they are unable to repay it. Right? A lot of farmers are committing suicides, etc. There is a lot of distress, right? Distress in the agriculture sector, and that is the precise reason, right? This guaranteed MSP will also provide certain benefit to the farmers, and coverage of the farmers automatically all over India will start increasing. Right? So these are some of the advantages or benefits of having a legal backing to the MSP. But having said so, now there are certain concerns as well. If government of India provides guaranteed MSP, then what will happen? Point number one. Please tell me what will happen to the expenditure of government of India. Let me know. What will happen to the expenditure of government of India? That is, let's say, revenue deficit, right, or fiscal deficit, etc. So expenditure will start increasing, deficit will also start increasing. That is one concern. Second one is, if government says, okay, I will provide a legal backing to MSP. Now question is, which will be the MSP, or which cost of production they will use in the calculation of MSP? Understand this, right? Government says, okay, I will provide you legal backing to MSP now, which means guaranteed I'll pay MSP to all the farmers. But now question is, how will I calculate MSP? For example, currently I said it is 150% of cost of production. And what is cost of production taken now? A2 plus FL. What if government of India says, okay, I'll provide legal backing to MSP, but now it will be 100% of A2 plus FL? So please tell me, compared to earlier situation, do you think farmers will get more returns now? Of course, no. What if government says, okay, I'll provide legal backing to MSP, but now I will pay 100% of A2? Do you think farmers will get better returns even under this? Of course, no. So now the question arises, what cost of production will be taken to calculate MSP, even if there is a legal backing? So that is one more concern. That is one more concern. Third one, it will have a huge impact on traders in the market. How? Let me explain this. Understand this very carefully. Imagine I'm a farmer. I've cultivated rice. And government of India says, if you bring the rice to me, I will purchase it at 40 rupees. Now, please tell me, in the market, if I want to sell it now, will I sell it at any price less than 40 rupees? Please think of it. Imagine Government of India provides guaranteed MSP. Guaranteed. That is, I take rice to government, government will pay me 40 rupees. So now, if I want to sell this rice in the open market to anybody else in the market, will I sell it at less than 40 rupees? No, I will not sell it at less than 40. I will sell it at more than 40 rupees. I will sell it at more than 40 rupees, more than 40 rupees, which means, please understand right now, because there is no legal backing, the price of the rice in the market is determined by supply and demand. Then the price of the market, sorry, price of the rice in the market is determined by supply and demand. But if government will start guaranteeing MSP, provide legal backing to MSP, what do you think will happen to market prices of the crops? The market prices of the crops automatically will start increasing. Correct? Market prices will start increasing. And when the market prices will increase, the buyers in the market, that is the traders in the market, will pay higher price, purchase it. Now they will sell it to customers at higher price. So ultimately, it is you and me who will end up paying higher prices for the crops because government's policy of guaranteed MSP. And moreover, please tell me what will happen to food inflation because of this. What do you think will happen to food inflation because of this? Don't you think food inflation will also start increasing because of this? That is one more concern. Right. So point number 3 and 4. And point number 5. If government will guarantee MSP, will provide legal backing to MSP and start purchasing these crops, do you think government has sufficient storage capacity in India? Think of it. Do you think government has sufficient storage capacity? We will discuss warehousing, storage after some time. Fact of the matter is very simple. We do not have sufficient warehousing capacity in India. We do not have sufficient storage capacity. So where is the storage capacity available? We don't have it. And finally, the sixth concern, I have not written it. I'll write it separately. The sixth concern, if government of India will purchase all these crops like this, don't you think any other country can go to WTO, file a complaint against India? Think of it. If government will start guaranteeing MSP and start purchasing like this, don't you think government will end up violating the agreement on agriculture de minimis level of 10%? Of course, yes. So these are some of the concerns regarding providing legal backing to MSP. These are some of the concerns regarding providing legal backing to MSP. So advantages or the benefits and also the concerns. Can I go forward? Second point in advantages, I'll repeat it again. Now farmers will get guaranteed amount of money. They are not at the mercy of the market. Second one is farmers in many states, right? Because please understand, let me introduce certain terms to you now. Understand these concepts very carefully. Okay? Understand these concepts very carefully. Point number 1, there is a concept of surplus states. There is a concept of surplus states. Now, what do you mean by surplus states? Let's start. Imagine there are two states, S1 and S2. There are two states. Okay. In S1, there are 10 beneficiaries under food security. That is the government of India's policy. And in state 2, let's say there are 20 beneficiaries under food security provided by government. And let's say government will provide 5 kgs of food grains per beneficiary, which means in state 1, government will require 50 kgs of food grains, and in state 2, government will require 100 kgs of food grains. Any difficulty here? 10 is number of beneficiaries, and 5 is allocation of food grains. Allocation of food grains. So in the state 1, government will require 50 kgs for distribution to the beneficiaries. In state 2, government will require 100 kgs for distribution of the beneficiaries. Let's say the amount of quantity, or let's say the amount of food grain given is basically rice. Now please tell me, in state 1, total cultivation of rice is 200 kgs. Total cultivation in state 1 is 200 kgs. And total cultivation in state 2 is 40 kgs. Can I now say state 1 is a surplus state and state 2 is a deficit state? Let me know. Can I say now, based on all of this, state 1 is a surplus state, state 2 is a deficit state. Any problem? Any problem in understanding this? And why is this important? Why is this important? If government of India wants to provide food grains in the deficit state, can I now say they will procure more in surplus state, transport it to deficit states? Let me know. I'll repeat it again. If government of India wants to provide sufficient food grains to the beneficiary in the second state, they will procure more in the state 1 and then transport it to state 2. I'll call basically this concept as surplus states and deficit states. Please have a look at it. Any doubt? Please do let me know. Just give me 1 second. Please give me 1 second. Please have a look at it and let me know. Okay. Any issue? I'm back now. Any issue? Can we go forward now? Now, please tell me. Please tell me. Second point, does it make sense now? What is the second point? Farmers from other states also will get the benefit. Right? So whether you're a surplus state or a deficit state, doesn't matter. Farmers from all the states will start getting the benefit now because government will start procuring all the food grain. Earlier, right, because there's no legal backing. Please look at this picture. Can I say government procurement is concentrated in state 1? Let me know. Government procurement in this example is concentrated, mainly focused, right, in state 1. Now, if government will provide legal backing, all the other states will also start getting the benefit. That is, farmers in all the other states will also get the benefit. That is the point number 2. Okay, and second point I want to discuss, additional point I want to discuss is the idea of procurement. There are two types of procurements. Please remember this. Procurement means purchasing. Don't be confused. Procurement means purchasing. So there are two ways through which procurement is done. One is called as centralized procurement. One is called as centralized procurement. Second one is called as decentralized procurement. One is a centralized procurement. Second one is decentralized procurement. Now, what is centralized? What is a decentralized? If we say centralized, central government agencies such as Food Corporation of India. Okay, there is a central government agency by the name of Food Corporation of India, FCI, Food Corporation of India. So, centralized procurement means Food Corporation of India will procure food grains and then start distributing the food grains to states. Any problem? Please do let me know. I'll repeat it. Centralized means Food Corporation of India will purchase, will procure food grains and start distribution of the food grains to the states. Right? Whereas in case of decentralized, the state government will purchase the food grains, procure. Purchase means nothing but procure food grains, store food grains, and distribute the food grains. Any difficulty? Right? Anybody is saying, sir, is there any difference between centralized and decentralized? Let me know. In decentralized, the state government will procure, will store, and start distribution of the food grain. This is called as a decentralized procurement. Now, many of you will be thinking, sir, why is the state government spending so much amount of money? Why is the state government spending so much amount of money? Because the National Food Security Act is a central government law. Why should the state government spend money here? Please understand. whatever money is spent by the state government here, the money will be paid. Payment is done by the central government. Payment is done by central government. So I'll repeat it again. Centralized basically means Food Corporation of India, either through right their own operation or through state government agencies, will procure. Food Corporation of India will then distribute the food grain to the states. Whereas in case of decentralized procurement, the state governments will purchase, store, and distribute the food grains. That is called as decentralized procurement. Can we go forward now? Anybody has any issue in regards to this? Can we go forward? What is procurement? Procurement means purchasing. Procurement simply means purchasing. Right? Do not be confused. Procurement means when you purchase it. W2 issue, my dear, if government of India will provide guaranteed MSP, they will start purchasing food grains, they will be crossing the 10% limit. Do you remember the de minimis level? Please do let me know. Do you remember the concept of de minimis level? Last week we have discussed it. Right? So they'll be crossing that 10%, and now it simply means many other countries will start complaining against the MSP policy of government of India. Okay, can we go forward now? Third point. Third point in issues. Impact on traders will be very high. Meaning what? I'll repeat it. My dear people, you will have to listen to all of this carefully. Okay. So, rice, imagine government guarantees 40 rupees. Imagine government guarantees 40 rupees. Doesn't matter. Government will simply guarantee 40. Which means if I'm a farmer, I know if I take this rice to government, government will pay 40 rupees. Will I sell it below 40 rupees in the market? No, I will not sell it below 40 rupees. I will sell it above 40 rupees. And when I start selling it above 40 rupees, automatically the market prices at which buyers will purchase in the market will start increasing. Customers will have to pay more money for this rice now. That can cause food inflation. Okay, that can cause food inflation. Done. So this is point number 1 and 2. Let me add a couple of more points here. Let me add a couple of more points. Point number 3. Right, there is a open procurement policy of government. Open procurement policy of the government. Open procurement policy. What do you mean by open procurement policy? Government says any farmer who will take any crop which is procured by the government. I repeat, any farmer who will take any crop which is procured by the government, that is through FCI, will purchase the food grain. I'll repeat it again. I'll repeat it again. Open procurement, open-ended procurement simply means any farmer will take a crop which is being purchased by the government. If they go to Food Corporation of India, government shall purchase this crop. This policy is called as open-ended procurement. But please understand this point. There should be a requirement of this crop. There should be a requirement of this crop for the government. Sir, what do you mean by requirement? This is so difficult concept. Let me give a very simple example. Have you heard of parboiled rice issue? Very recently? Let me know. There was a parboiled rice issue which took place between Government of India and the state government of Telangana. Let me see how many of you are reading newspapers. Not in the last 1 month, 4 to 5 months ago. There was an issue of parboiled rice procurement. Now, what is this parboiled rice procurement issue? Simple. Parboiled simply means rice, that is paddy, is boiled, right, for certain time. Rice is, sorry, paddy, not rice. Paddy is boiled, and then the husk will be removed to get rice. And this rice is called as parboiled rice. Government of India basically stated to the Telangana government that this year we already have sufficient quantity of parboiled rice. Hence, I will not be procuring the parboiled rice from the state of Telangana. But the state of Telangana, rather than telling the farmers not to produce a lot of parboiled rice, they did not work efficiently, did not transmit this message efficiently to the farmers. As a result of this, lot of farmers in Telangana cultivated parboiled rice. So now the concern was cultivation of parboiled rice is very high. Central government doesn't want to procure it. So there was a friction. There was certain right. There were certain points of friction that was created between the central government and the state government regarding the procurement of parboiled. Central government did not procure this rice. They simply said we already have sufficient quantity, hence I will not be procuring it. Right? So I hope you understand this. I'll repeat it again. Open-ended means government through Food Corporation of India will procure any crop that they require, provided right. This is covered under MSP. This is called as open-ended procurement policy of the government. Okay. Now, concept of concept of food subsidy. Concept of food subsidy. Now, what is this idea of a food subsidy? Let me make it very simple to all of you. Please follow the discussion now. Please follow the discussion. Point number one, there is a concept called as economic cost of food grain. Right? What do you mean by economic cost? It is the total cost to the Food Corporation of India. Total cost means what? From the point of purchasing food grains to the point of distribution of the food grain. Whatever is the expenditure incurred, we will basically count it as a part of economic cost. Sir, what do you mean by this? Let me explain it. Let me explain it. Here is, let's say, the market. Here is the market where the farmer has taken the crop, and here is a beneficiary who is supposed to get rice. Beneficiary who will get rice from right, the government. Now, please right, look at this very carefully. From the market to make the rice reach the beneficiary, to provide rice to the beneficiary, can I say government will take up multiple activities here? Very simple, right? We need to ensure that rice from the market, that is from the farmer, will be purchased, and this rice should be given to let's say a poor person. So can I say lot of activities will be undertaken by the government to ensure rice will reach the beneficiary? Sir, what do you mean by activities? First one, can I simply say we need to procure the food grains? Yes or no? We need to procure. Procure means purchase the food grain. And once you purchase the food grain, you need to store the food grains. You need to store, you need to warehouse. And then you will have to transport it and distribute the food grains. Very simple concept to follow this very carefully. First step is you need to purchase. Second one is you need to store it. And third one is you need to distribute the food grain. Now, can I simply say for all these, government will incur expenditure? Let me know. For all these, does government incur expenditure or not? For example, when government will procure food grains, can I say government will incur MSP, that is by the central government? If the state government provides bonus, that is also the cost because of procurement. Now, when you purchase food grains from the market, please tell me, don't you think you will have to transport food grains to the warehouse? So again, cost. But for the food grains to be transported, first you will have to put them in bags. Correct? You will have to take all these food grains, put them in the bag, right? Pack the food grains. Now you will have to load the food grains into a truck, which means again labor cost is also there. Anybody has a problem? Please do let me know. Right? So one is a procurement cost. Procurement cost can be MSP only or MSP plus bonus. In addition to procurement cost, can I say bagging cost will be there? How? If you ask me how, please tell me, my dear, you go to the market, will you not incur cost to bring the food grains to the home? How do you ask how? What is how? You tell me here. It's a basic idea. You will use labor to move the food grains, put them on the truck. Will you not pay money for the labor? Do you think labor is available free of a cost to you? Food grains have to be put in the bag. So will you not pay money for purchasing those bags? Basic idea. Right? Don't keep on asking me how. Please tell me what is the doubt there. Right? If you ask me, sir, how you will incur labor cost? How means how? You tell me that. right? So bagging expenditure, labor expenditure. What if you're purchasing this in a market? Think of it. You're purchasing all of this in a market, right? The market is called as mandi. Don't you think even this mandi, because you are going into a mandi and purchasing it, even the mandi will impose certain charges and collect from you? So mandi charges will also be taken now. So one is procurement cost. One is procurement cost, and the second one is called as procurement incidentals. One is procurement cost, and the second one is called as procurement incidentals. Now you will bring all these food grains to the warehouse. You will keep this in the warehouse, which again means you will use labor here. Labor charges will be there, and storage charges will be there. Storage charges will be there. Now you will take all these food grains, you will transport them to villages or to, let's say, respective states. Again, transportation charge is there. You will distribute food grains. That is, you will open a shop and you will ask a person to distribute food grains, which means again, distribution charges will also be incurred. Anybody has any problem with whatever I've discussed so far, please tell me. Can I say if you get the sum total of all of this? Simple now. Can I say if you get the sum total of all of this, I'll call this as economic cost. Let me know. Again, I'll repeat it. If you get the sum total of all of this, can I call it as economic cost of food grains? Right? What is economic cost? Please have a look at it. It is the total cost incurred. It is the total cost incurred by Food Corporation of India for purchasing and moving these food grains so that the food grains are available to the beneficiaries. This is called as economic cost of food grains. But please understand, next point is important. Whatever food grains we purchase, I repeat, whatever food grains we purchase, all the food grains are not distributed immediately by the government. I'll repeat it. Whatever food grains, let's say Food Corporation of India will purchase, all of it will not be immediately issued by the government for distribution. Why? Whatever procurement is done, generally it is divided into two components. One is for distribution purposes, and the second one is maintained as buffer stock. Second one is maintained as buffer stock. Now, what do you mean by buffer stock here? Right? Please remember this. Buffer stocks are those additional food grains which are purchased and stored. I'll repeat it again. Buffer stocks are those additional quantity of food grains which are purchased and stored. Right? For example, I'll give a very simple example here. Imagine there are 10 beneficiaries. Okay. Imagine there are 10 beneficiaries. And per beneficiary, we are supposed to provide 5 kgs of food grains. Per beneficiary, 5 kgs. So please tell me, how much should government procure here? All of you are okay with this calculation? Theoretically, how much? How much should the government procure here? 50 kgs. But government says, no, I will not purchase 50. I will purchase 80 kgs. I will not purchase 50 kgs. I will purchase 80 kgs. Now, why? Why when you require only 50, why are you purchasing 80? Is there any particular reason for it? What if, think of it, what if in the next 1 month, there is a lot of rainfall in India, rice cultivation is affected. Don't you think supply of rice to the market would be affected in the next 1 month? Think of it. All of this is happening in the current affairs. You'll have to connect it. I'll repeat it again. Right? You require only 50 kgs for distribution. But you will not purchase 50. You will purchase more than 50, let's say hypothetically 80. Why? The reason is simple. Government says, what if in the next month there is a lot of rainfall? Agriculture sector production would be affected. So in that case, I would require extra rice to supply to the market. That is the reason, apart from requiring 50 kgs for distribution purposes, they will also purchase 30 kgs in the form of buffer stock. right? They will purchase 30 kgs in the form of buffer stock. Now let me add one more current affairs point here. Please tell me whether have you come across this in the newspaper. Have you come across open market sale scheme? Let me know. Have you come across open market sale scheme? Very, very famous now. Very, very famous. Please check newspapers. Very often this will be there in the newspaper. What do you mean by open market sale scheme? Okay, am I audible now? Let me know. Am I audible? There's certain glitch in the system, right? Now I should be audible as well as visible. If anybody says, sir, you're not audible to me, there is a button, fix audio, please hit it. If anybody says, sir, you're stuck, like it used to happen in old video cassettes, you're not moving, you're stuck like this, only audio is coming, please hit the refresh button. Please hit the refresh button. Fix audio or refresh, right? It should be okay with all of you. Okay, from my side, it is absolutely correct now. So come to the point. I was saying open market sale scheme. OMSS, open market sale scheme. What is this open market sale scheme? Let me explain it. Government of India through Food Corporation of India. I'll repeat. Government of India through Food Corporation of India will purchase a lot of these buffer stocks and maintain. And whenever there's a shortage, I repeat, whenever there's a shortage of these food grains in the market, government through these agencies will supply these food grains in the market to ensure more supply and stability of the prices. Very simple concept. I'll repeat it again. What is this open market sales scheme? Under this, government through government agencies will procure and keep certain buffer stock. And whenever there's a shortage, right, whenever there's a shortage and the market prices will start increasing, government will use these crops, supply it in the market so that the supply will get stabilized, prices will also get stabilized. This is basically the concept of open market sale scheme. Anybody has a problem with this, please do let me know. And in recent times in agriculture sector, OMSS has been used by the government very frequently. Very frequently they are using it. Okay, done. So this is the reason why we need to purchase more than what is actually required for distribution purposes, and that is called as buffer stock. But there is also criticism regarding this. Think of it, there is also criticism. What is the criticism? You will purchase more. Okay, right, let's continue. Right, I don't know, there is some certain glitch. I've told the concerned people, they said they will look into it. But let me repeat it. I have not discussed anything else. So let me repeat it. Right, I was about to say there is certain criticism even for buffer stock. There's a criticism. What is a criticism? Imagine you require only 50 kgs, but you are purchasing 30 kgs extra. You require 50, but you will purchase 80, means you are purchasing more than what is required, 30 kgs, which means, can I say, you are incurring more than required expenditure. Correct? You are incurring more than required expenditure. You should have incurred expenditure only for 50 kgs, but you are incurring expenditure for 80 kgs, more than required expenditure you are incurring. Point number one. Point number two, if you are going to spend money and purchase extra 30 kgs, now please tell me, will you also not incur storage expenditure now? Transportation expenditure will be higher. Labor expenditure will also be higher. All of you are okay with this? Let me know. All of you are okay with this? You are purchasing buffer stocks. Yes, there is a need, right? In future, you might require it. That's the reason you are purchasing buffer stock. But by purchasing buffer stock, okay. Anybody has a problem with buffer stock? Please do let me know. Right? If not, I'll take a break. I'll talk to the tech team. Please do let me know. Anybody has a problem with buffer stock? I'll repeat, what is the issue with buffer stock? You are purchasing more than what is required, which means you're spending more money. Hello. Okay. Good afternoon. Please do let me know. Am I audible as well as visible now? Please do let me know. Don't worry, you have not missed out anything. I did not discuss anything. Right? We basically there's a technical glitch. We stopped. We restarted the class now. You're not skipped anything. Don't worry. Done. Okay. So let's start. Let's start. So we are basically discussing concept of MSP, right? Then we are discussing the idea of the food subsidy. So what we have discussed in food subsidy, just to give you in a nutshell, food subsidy, in that we are discussing economic cost of food grain. And in case of economic cost of food grains, right, basically I said the government through Food Corporation of India will incur various expenditures for procurement, right, for transportation, for warehousing, etc., etc. All of that is called as economic cost. Now I said whatever food grains we purchase through Food Corporation of India, whatever we purchase, it will be used for two purposes. One, for distribution purposes, and second, for buffer stock. What is the need for a buffer stock? There could be a sudden requirement because of various internal issues as well as external issues. There could be a sudden requirement of crops, and that is the reason we will keep certain buffer stock extra additional than what is required for distribution. This is basically the idea of a buffer stock. Done. Now some only two people, right? Please do let me know whether I'm audible to you or not. Only two people are saying there is an issue with audio. My dear, if there is an issue with audio, right, take a 10-second pause. Don't worry, I'll not discuss. Take a 10-second pause. There is a button called as fix audio. Please hit that. Sir, even then that is not working, please hit refresh. Right? Do not worry. I'm basically revising what I've discussed in the last half an hour. Then I discussed idea of a open market sale scheme. OMSS. What is this open market sale scheme? Under this I said government through various agencies, it will ensure that there is sufficient amount of food grains in the market. If there is a shortage, let's say next month, hypothetically, let's say next month, in fact this has been happening for the last couple of months. Let's say next month supply of rice in the international market, or let's say focus on domestic market, in the domestic market will go down. And when in the domestic market will go down, government will tell FCI, please sell some of the buffer stocks in the market so that the supply will be stable and prices will also be stable. This is called as open market sales scheme. OMSS. Done. So these are certain important points. Now come to the most important point here. How do you calculate food subsidy? How do you calculate food subsidy? Right now, please remember, we have a scheme by the name of NFSA. I'll discuss this right now. Please understand this. We have a scheme by the name of NFSA. I'll come back to this. Just give me a minute. What is this NFSA? NFSA stands for National Food Security Act. National Food Security Act. Under National Food Security Act, which has come into force from 2013, from 2013, we are basically covering total two-thirds of India's population. We are covering total of two-thirds of India's population. That will come just over 80 crore people. And for these 80 crore people, we will provide 5 kgs of food grains free of a cost every month. I'll repeat the statement here. Right now, please be very careful here. This is a very tricky area. Why? I'll tell you. For the current financial year, Government of India says the 5 kgs of food grains that we provide to the beneficiaries under NFSA, it is going to be provided free of a cost. Free of a cost for this year. Because generally, if you read books regarding NFSA, under NFSA, government initially stated for distribution of rice, I will give 1 kg. For every 1 kg, I will collect a 3 rupee from the beneficiary. For wheat, whenever I will distribute 1 kg, I will connect 2 rupees per kg from the beneficiary. And if I provide coarse grains, I will collect 1 rupee per kg from the beneficiary. This is basically the idea. And when you read the books, you will come across these prices only. Now, please tell me, can I call these as issue prices? Let me know. Can I call these as issue prices? What do you mean by issue prices? Imagine you are the government. I'm a beneficiary. You will give me 1 kg of rice and I will pay 3 rupees for that. You will give me 2 kg of, you will give me 1 kg of wheat. I will give you 2 rupees for that. So because I'm paying 2 rupees, I'm paying 3 rupees. Can I call these as issue prices? Please participate and do let me know. If you're okay, I'll go forward. Right? That's the only argument here. So earlier, until last year, government used to have issue prices for food grains under NFSA. But for this year, Government of India says no issue prices. We will provide it at 0 rupees. Will provide it free of a cost at 0 rupees. Right. So for current year, is there any issue price for all of these crops provided under NFSA? Absolutely no. It is 0 rupees. So under NFSA, 5 kgs, right? 5 kgs of food grains are given for every beneficiary per month. Now, even under NFSA, there are two types of beneficiaries. There are two criteria. What are the two criteria? Please understand this. One is called as a Antyodaya Anna Yojana card holder. AY simply stands for, I will write it here, Antyodaya Anna Yojana. AY simply stands for Antyodaya Anna Yojana. There's a scheme by the name of Antyodaya Anna Yojana. And second one is Priority Household. PHH simply means Priority Household. Now, what do you mean by priority household? In priority household, per beneficiary, I repeat, in priority household, per beneficiary, 5 kgs of food grains are provided. You can have a look at the numbers here. Whereas in case of Antyodaya Anna Yojana, it is not per beneficiary, it is for a household. It is for full family. Right? So for full family, which is covered under Antyodaya Anna Yojana, 35 kgs of food grains is provided for one household. So any difficulty, please do let me know right now. Under NFSA, National Food Security Act, we are having a system called as public distribution system. What do you mean by public distribution system? Government through this system will distribute food grains for the beneficiaries. How many beneficiaries are we covering under the NFSA? We are covering more than 80 crore beneficiaries. That is total of 2/3 of India's population. And these beneficiaries are generally divided into two groups. One is a priority household, wherein for every beneficiary in the house, I will give 5 kgs of food grains free of a cost per month. Whereas, right, there is one more class of beneficiary which is called as Antyodaya card holder. Antyodaya Anna Yojana. And if you are Antyodaya Anna Yojana beneficiary, that is a family or a household, per month I will give 35 kgs of food grains free of a cost. So please do let me know. Can I say in case of NFSA, because we are providing food grains free of a cost this year, issue price is 0 rupees. Can I go forward? Please do let me know. Because we are not collecting anything from the beneficiary, we are providing at 0 rupees. Can I call it as issue price is 0 rupees? Right? Earlier it was 3 rupee, 2 rupee, 1 rupee. For this year, it is 0 rupee. So understand the next point here. Please understand the next point. Who is going to be identifying these beneficiaries? Whether I am a beneficiary, you're a beneficiary, or XYZ is a beneficiary, who is going to identify these beneficiaries? It is going to be the state government. Please be very careful with this. It is going to be the state government. State governments will be identifying who are the beneficiaries. Point number 4. Some of you are asking, sir, you wrote rice. For 1 kg, it is 3 rupees. For wheat, 1 kg it is 2 rupees. Coarse grains, 1 rupee it is, 1 kg, 1 rupee. How much each of them will be provided? Please do let me know. In case of India, can I say from one state to another state, consumption patterns will change? Please think of it and answer to me. Think logically. From one state to another state, do you think the consumption patterns will remain same or will change? For example, in some of the states, people consume more of rice. In some of the states, people consume more of wheat. And in some of the states, it is a combination. So now can I say there is no uniformity? There is no uniformity in terms of how much rice will be given, how much wheat will be given. It is entirely dependent from one state to another state. Based on the requirement in the state, they will decide how much rice, how much wheat, or only rice or only wheat. All of you are okay with this? All of you are okay with this? From one state to another state, consumption patterns will change. And second point, right? Some time ago, when I discussed the concept of procurement, right, there was a glitch. That's the reason I was not able to answer that question. One student basically asked me, sir, why there are two ways to procure? Why there are two different ways of procurement, centralized and decentralized? Why there are two different ways? My dear, if you look at decentralized procurement, who is going to procure? State government. Who is going to store? State. Who is going to distribute? State government. Now, please let me know, if there is a decentralized procurement, don't you think based on the requirement in the state, state government will procure the food grains? Think of it and please do let me know. That question is good. I don't have any problem with the question. I'm trying to address that doubt. Why do we have a decentralized and centralized? If there is a decentralized procurement, don't you think the state government can decide what is the requirement of food grains for the beneficiaries in this state? Based on that, can they decide to procure, store, and distribute it? That is the reason. That is the reason we have a centralized as well as decentralized. Done. So NFSA, 50% of urban population will be covered, 75% of rural population will be covered. But more importantly, which population? If you say 50% of urban population, is it referring to current population? If it's a 75% of rural population, current population? No, please remember this. This is a 2011 population. This is 2011 population. And if you ask me, sir, why 2011? We are there in 2023. Why are we using 2011 population? Reason is very simple, right? Don't you think it was the year when the population census was conducted? Simple argument. This was the year when population census was conducted. After 2011, we do not have a population census. It was supposed to be conducted in 2021, but because of pandemic, that has got postponed. So the last time when the population census was conducted was in 2011. That's the reason 2011 census data is taken for, right, the number of beneficiaries here. But think of it. Can I tell you one criticism here itself? One criticism, one issue. Can I say because we are taking 2011 population, we will be having outdated population data within NFSA? Think of it and do answer to me. If you have a doubt, if you have a counter argument, let me also know. If you are going to cover the NFSA beneficiary based on 2011 data, don't you think some of the beneficiaries, right, who are not supposed to be covered will be part of it? Some of them who are supposed to be covered, right, will not be covered under this. Right, lot of leakages could happen, right, etc., etc. For example, you might ask me, sir, how is that possible? It's not at all possible. Please do let me know. Have you read in the last couple of days what has happened in Pradhan Mantri Jan Aushadhi Yojana scheme, PMJAY? Please do let me know. Have you people read in the newspaper what has happened in PMJAY? There is one report which says lakhs of beneficiaries have only one mobile number. Please read it. Right? If you have not yet read it, please read it. Right? Very fascinating scam that has happened. Right? So, lot of these beneficiaries, there is only one mobile number. Right? So, again, don't enter into PMJAY here. All I'm trying to convey to you people is there are concerns. There are concerns. Even the CAG, Comptroller Auditor General, even has raised concern regarding national highways. lot of unnecessary tolls collected, a lot of beneficiaries who are duplicate beneficiaries in PMJAY, etc., etc., which means despite having so many measures, think of it, despite government of India implementing so many tools, there is still leakage in the system. There is still corruption in the system. Lot of unnecessary expenditure subsidies are being misused in India, etc. But again, that is not the point here. Come to the point. Poorest of the poor will continue to be covered under Antyodaya Anna Yojana. For them, 35 kgs will be provided. Okay. Redressal mechanism, right? At the state level, at the district level, officers will be appointed. At the state level, at the district level, officers will be appointed. Grievance means complaint. If you have any kind of a complaint regarding the scheme, right, in regards to the services, you can always approach these officers, file a complaint. Resolution will be provided to them. States will have to identify the beneficiary, because always remember this. If you look at the sequence here, please look at the sequence here. This is how the public distribution system will actually work out. And what is public distribution system? It is a network of shops. Simple. It is basically representing network of shops or network of infrastructure which will be utilized by the government to provide food grains. That's it. The farmer is there. Step one is very simple. The procurement will happen from the farmer, right? So the procurement can be centralized or decentralized. Let's say it is centralized. So central government through Food Corporation of India will procure the food grain. Now will allocate the food grains to the state governments. State governments who have identified the beneficiaries through the fair price shops. I repeat, state governments have identified the beneficiaries and through the fair price shops now will be providing free food grains to the beneficiary. This is how public distribution system is supposed to work out. Done? And finally, under the NFSA, it proposes utilization of Aadhaar. It proposes utilization of ICT. ICT simply stands for Information Communication Technology for better implementation of National Food Security Act. Any problem in any of the points that we have covered here? Any problem with the points that we have covered here? Please do let me know. Otherwise, I'll go forward. Now, how food subsidy is calculated? This is the data, but don't worry, don't by heart the data. How food subsidy is calculated? Very simple. On one side, government will incur economic cost of food grains. Do you remember this calculation? Please do let me know. Economic cost of food grains. 20 minutes ago, we have discussed this. On one side, government will incur economic cost of food grains. Right? And imagine this, government will incur, simple number. Imagine government will incur 40 rupees in the form of economic cost of food grains. Now, if at all there is any issue price, if at all there is any issue price, let's say hypothetically 3 rupees is the issue price, can I say subsidy here will be 37 rupees? Let me know. Can I say subsidy here will be 37 rupees? Anybody has difficulty? Please do let me know. Economic cost of food grains means what? How much expenditure you will incur to purchase and distribute food grains. Right? There is a procurement cost, procurement incidentals, transportation cost, baggaging, right? Warehousing, etc. etc. So if economic cost is 40 rupees and they will issue it to you, you will have to pay 3 rupees to the government. Can I say subsidy is 37 rupees? Anybody has a problem? Can I say 37 rupees the subsidy? But this year, please do let me know. This year, is there any issue price? Is there any issue price? There is no issue price. Which means whenever you calculate subsidy for this year, if you calculate subsidy for this year, if you remember this picture, right? Basically, the subsidy that will be incurred by the government will be the amount of money the government will incur for purchasing, storage, distribution, all these expenditures. Because there is absolutely no issue price this year, which means by providing food grains, government will incur economic cost of food grains, but government will not be collecting any money from the beneficiary, which means the subsidy burden for the government will be very, very high. Very simple idea. the food subsidy burden for the government would be very, very high. That is basically the point that is mentioned here. Please go through this. So food subsidy calculation is simple. Subsidy on the food grains issued to the beneficiary, right? So earlier this was the calculation. Now this is not the calculation because issue price is 0. So whatever is the ECFG in the context of food grains procured and distributed plus whatever is the cost of buffer stock, all of that in combination will give you total food subsidy burden bill for government of India. Anybody has a problem? Can I go forward now? One ration, one district. I have not come across one ration, one district. Please do let me know. Right? What is this one ration, one district? I have not come across that. Can I go forward? Anybody has a doubt as to how food subsidy is calculated? Please do let me know. Otherwise, I'll go forward. If none of you basically, right, ask me any question, I will go forward. Okay. So this is the food subsidy bill. Food subsidy bill. Should you by heart the numbers? Don't waste your time. Please do not waste your time. Right? UPSC is not going to ask you the numbers. But what you can observe is basically food subsidy bill has kept on increasing. And many of you will start typing, sir, why? Why in 20 and 21? Why the food subsidy bill is very higher? Please tell me what happened in 20 and 21. Right? All of you know? Right? All of you know what happened in 20 and 21? COVID happened. And because of COVID, government of India had to issue more subsidized food grain to the beneficiaries, which means food subsidy burden would always automatically become higher. That is a point here. Okay. Now, any reforms which have been implemented by the government, any reform which has been implemented by the government to make public distribution system much more efficient. I'll discuss two very important reforms here. Two very important reforms here. Point number one nation, one ration card. Simple system, follow this carefully. One nation, one ration card. What is this one nation, one ration card? Let me start with a very simple example. Understand the example here. Let's start. Imagine I'm a beneficiary under NFSA. Okay, I'm a beneficiary under National Food Security Act. Along with me, there are 5 more beneficiaries, or let's say 4 more beneficiaries in my house. So total number of beneficiary, according to this example, how many are the total number of beneficiaries? 5 people. Now, let's say all these 5 people, we are living in one state, right? One state, within that only one village. Now, what if I will move out of the village in search of job, I will go to another state. This is state 1 and this is state 2. So in search of job, I have moved from the state 1 to state 2. All of you are okay with this example, right? Is there anyone who will ask me, sir, is it happening in real life? Let me know. Have you not seen migrant workers? Migrant workers who will move from one state to another state in search of jobs? And now, have you not seen during the period of pandemic, migrant workers moving from all these, right, let's say states such as Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, back to their states because of pandemic? So argument is simple. This is a very common phenomenon, right? Do not be under the impression that this will never happen in India. This is a very, very common thing. So people in search of job, imagine they will go to second state. Now, please tell me who identifies beneficiaries under NFSA? Let me know, right? Who identifies beneficiaries under NFSA? State government. So, can I say I am a beneficiary in the state 1, but not a beneficiary in state 2? Let me know. Very simple argument now. I am a beneficiary in state 1, but not a beneficiary in the state 2. Does it mean, right, in the city where I'm living, I should not be given free food grains under NFSA now? That will become a problem for me. That will create issues because I'm a poor migrant worker. That is the precise reason. Now we have introduced the concept of ration card portability. Ration card portability. And one nation, one ration card is basically the idea of ration card portability. What do you mean by ration card portability? No doubt, I'm a beneficiary in the state 1. Even if I move to state 2, now I will continue to get 5 kgs of food grains in the state 2. Very simple. I'll repeat it again. No doubt, I'm a beneficiary in the state 1, but even if I move from state 1 to state 2, I will continue to get benefits even in the state 2. I will continue to get free food grains in the state 2. This portability is called as one nation, one ration card. Right? Anybody has a problem? So if you move from one village to another village, you will continue to get food grains. If you move from one district to another district, you will get food grains now. If you move from one state to another state, no problem, you will get food grains. Now, many of you will ask me, sir, how is that possible? How is that possible? I'm not a beneficiary in the state 2. How will the state 2 provide me food grain? Very simple idea. Imagine all the beneficiary data, all the beneficiaries, 80 plus crore, all the beneficiaries, the data is available right in a server. Now I will go to a ration shop, provide my thumbprint. Think of it. I will go to the ration shop, direct benefit transfer. I will go to the ration shop. I will provide thumbprint. And the system, right? If you are the owner of the ration shop, right? In the system, it says, I'm a beneficiary who is supposed to get 5 kgs of food grains. So now tell me, have I established myself as a beneficiary? Have I established as a beneficiary to you? Yes. So now what you will do? You will take 5 kg of rice and give it to me. So now tell me, can we use Aadhaar systems? With usage of Aadhaar systems, can we ensure beneficiaries will be able to get access to their entitlement throughout India? I'll repeat the statement. Can we say using Aadhaar, the beneficiaries under NFSA will be able to get their entitlement throughout India, anywhere in India? Of course, yes. Right? If I go to state 3, there also I'll provide my thumbprint. The shopkeeper, that is the ration shop owner, will look at the system and say, okay, you're a beneficiary, take 5 kgs of food grain. So now doesn't matter whether I'm a beneficiary in state 1, state 2, doesn't matter. Throughout India, anywhere, I can get access to food grains. This concept is called as one nation, one ration card. It was brought into force by Government of India from 2019, and today all the states in India as well as union territories are part of one nation, one ration card, right? Which is basically the ration card portability. Now, which is the department which is responsible, right? Which is a department which is responsible for implementation of one nation, one ration card? Please by heart this. UPSC can ask you these questions. Which is a department which is responsible for implementation of all these schemes that is related to NFSA? It is the Department of Food and Public Distribution. This functions under Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution, Government of India. UPSC can ask you this. Please remember it. Now there are two systems. Right? There are two systems which will keep a record of all of these transactions. One system is IMPDS, Integrated Management of Public Distribution System. IMPDS, Integrated Management of Public Distribution System. Now, what is the use of IMPDS? It will hold all the interstate transactions. It will keep the record of all the interstate transactions. Meaning what? Imagine I'm a beneficiary in state 1. I will go to state 2 in search of a job. I'll start getting benefits in the state 2. So can I say this is an interstate transaction? They will keep all these transactions under IMPDS. And second, Anna Vitran portal within the state, whether this is right inter-district or intrastate, all these transactions will be recorded in Anna Vitran. Now, many of you will ask me, sir, why are they using two portals here? Why are they using two systems? Very simple. Government says, I want to keep a track of right how many food grains are required in the second state because of migration. right? Think of it. In the second state, imagine lot of people will get migrated into the second state. Now, don't you want to have a system to plan accordingly how many food grains are required in the second state, first state, third state, fourth state? Of course, yes. So to plan the system accordingly to the requirement of a migrant population, to the requirement of portability, we have two systems where all the interstate transactions will be recorded in one portal. All the intrastate will be recorded in the other portal. This is basically the concept of one reform introduced to make public distribution system much more efficient. That is ONORC. Any problem here? Can we go forward? Can we go forward? What is the difference between Antyodaya Anna Yojana and Priority Household? Antyodaya Anna Yojana was a scheme introduced by the government earlier. Even before NFSA, there was Antyodaya Anna Yojana. Under that, the whole household was covered, not individuals in the house. The whole house was identified and they were covered. And per house, right, initially the allocation was lesser. Over a period of time, it has been increased. And now, per house, 35 kgs of food grains are provided under NFSA to Antyodaya card holders. And on the other side, other beneficiaries under NFSA, that basically are covered, which is called as a priority household. Per person, 5 kgs are provided per month. Okay, what is targeted PDS? Targeted PDS simply means we are targeting the beneficiaries. Please do let me know. Will everybody in a state get entitlement under NFSA? Let's say it is UP state, Bihar state, Karnataka, Uttar Pradesh. I'm sorry, Uttar Pradesh already covered. Assam, Punjab, Maharashtra. So please think of it. Do you think everybody in the state is going to get 5 kg of free food grains under NFSA? No, right? Some of you are saying yes. No, my dear. No, everybody is not going to get food grains. From one state to another state, how they will identify criteria will change. I hope you understand. From one state to another state, how they will identify criteria will change. But everybody will not get. We will target the beneficiaries. Hence, this is called as targeted public distribution system. Okay. So, for example, 5 persons in family, 2 members are migrated to other state, then 2 persons can take food grains other state, and remaining 3 persons can take food grains in the home state individual. Yes, right? Let's imagine there are 5 people in this family. I'll take the same example that I've taken earlier. Imagine there are 5 people. Out of 5 people who are all the beneficiaries under NFSA, only I will go to state 2. Means remaining 4 people will get 5 kgs per person in the same state. Only I will take 5 kgs in the state 2. So entitlement remains the same. Only difference is rather than taking all the 25 at one place, now we have divided the entitlement like this. Okay, done. Can we go forward? Anna Vitran will cover interstate transactions. Yes, Anna Vitran will cover intrastate. IMPDS will cover interstate transaction. Can we go forward? This is basically the concept of NFSA, reforms in NFSA. Let me add one more very important reform. This is also cited in the current affairs in multiple times. That is food grain ATM. There is a concept of food grain ATM now. It is becoming very famous, right? I'm pretty sure you've come across water ATMs. Now there is a food grain ATM. Gold ATM is there now, right? A biryani ATM is there, right? So now there is a food grain ATM. What is this idea of a food grain ATM? Let me give a very simple idea. Imagine, right? I'm a beneficiary. You are also a beneficiary under NFSA. Both of us will go to a fair price shop. Please tell me, what if there is a long line in front of the fair price shop? So don't you think that's a problem for both of us? That is time consumption. Lot of time consumption will take place. Point number 2, even if there is no line, let's say we will go to the fair price shop. What is the guarantee? What is the guarantee that the person who is giving me 5 kg of rice, it is actually 5 kgs? What if it is less than 5 kgs? Possible or not? That is people can be cheated. right? The shopkeeper will show me the stone which says 5 kgs, but in reality it could be only 4.5 kgs, right? So the argument is simple. One, if you go to a fair price shop, there could be a queue, which means a lot of time I will have to wait. Second one is, right, the right amount of food grains may not be distributed, right? There can be cheating of the beneficiaries. In order to address all of this, now government is proposing and promoting the idea of a food grain ATM. And the concept of food grain ATM is very simple. Imagine this is a food grain ATM, which again, please understand, imagine, right? And if you want to get the actual food grain ATM picture, go to Google and type food grain ATM, you will get nice pictures. So imagine this is a food grain ATM. Here in the top, they will store a lot of food grains, and at the bottom there will be, right, basically a dispensing button, right? That is a place where food grains will be released. And here there will be, right, basically a place to provide your thumbprints. Now, same example. I'm supposed to get 5 kgs of food grains. I will go to the food grain ATM with the bag. I will keep my bag here and provide my Aadhaar number and provide my thumbprint. I hope you understand. Provide my Aadhaar number and provide my thumbprint. So the machine will read and say, I am person XYZ. I am supposed to get 5 kgs of food grain. Now 5 kgs of food grains will be released into the bag. This is called as a food grain ATM. Nothing difficult here, no complications. You don't complicate it. It's a very simple process. So I will go to the ATM, provide my details, provide my thumbprint, and 5 kgs of food grain will be released from the ATM. Now please tell me point number one. If these kind of ATMs are installed, do you have to wait for longer duration? Let me know. Will there be a queue for this? Will there be a longer time taken for providing these food grains? No. Second one, are you guaranteed will you get 5 kgs using this machine now? Correct? Are you guaranteed or not that you will get 5 kgs because it's a machine? No person is there here. It's a machine. Machine will basically give you 5 kgs. Right? So basically the cheating will not happen. Queues will also be very, very low. Queues may be there, my dear. Please understand the ATMs are available throughout the day. I'll tell you the point here. Some of you are saying, sir, what if all the time people are standing? My dear, the ATM is available throughout the day. But if you know about fair price shop, people will come, open the fair price shop, then people will start getting the food grade. But the ATM is always available. So I hope you understand. Don't say, sir, queue might be there, etc., etc. Government of India says will address the issue of queue also. For example, tell me, is it not the same as you going to the bank, withdrawing money, you going to ATM to withdraw money? Think of it. Is it not the same? Again, somebody has to operate this ATM, right? They will come, they'll open ATM, but please understand, human interference is lowest here. Human interference is very, very low. So that's the reason government says we will address the issue of waiting time. We'll address the issue of, right, let's say underweightage, underweighing the food grains. So this is, right, basically one more very important reform, the idea of a food grain ATM. Next is the concept of agriculture credit. Next is the concept of agriculture credit. Now, whenever you talk about agriculture credit, please understand the concept here. You can divide the agriculture credit based on the source. Based on the source, you can have two types of agriculture credit. One is called as a institutional or formal. Whenever you take a loan from a cooperative bank, a regional rural bank, small finance bank, right? Or let's say scheduled commercial banks, any of the scheduled commercial banks, all of this is called as institutional or formal loans. On the other side, the loans can be informal as well. That is, you will take a loan from money lender. You will take a loan from friends and family, etc. So there can be institutional loans as well as informal loans. But as per RBI report, I hope you understand. As per RBI report, Reserve Bank of India's report, most of the loans will come from institutions, But even today, substantial amount of loans, substantial, around 30 to 40% of rural credit generally comes from informal sources. That is through friends, family members, as well as money lenders. And the problem in getting the loans from informal sources is one, most of them will not come under regulation of Reserve Bank of India. Second, right, the rate of interest charged by them, are very exorbitant, are very, very high. As per RBI survey, on an average, in case of informal sources of loans, the rate of interest is around 24% to 36%. It is in the range of 24% to 36%. That's a very, very exorbitant rate, very, very high rate of interest. And that is a precise reason, lot of times, the farmers who will take loan from informal sector, they will suffer because let's say there is excess rainfall, or there is no rainfall or very low rainfall. Even if they have very good production, imagine imports are very, very high. As a result of this, market prices are very low. So because of various internal factors and external factors, they will end up making very low returns. So on one side, their debt is very high. I hope you understand this. On one side, their debt is very high, but on the other side, their revenues are very low. They will not be able to repay the debt. For that, again, they will take a loan. So continuously, they'll fall into the debt, which is called as a debt trap. Have you heard of this? They'll continuously keep on falling into the debt, which is called as a debt trap. And that is one of the reasons, one of the causes why there are a lot of farmer suicides in India. They will fall into the debt trap. That is basically, they will have revenue. I'm not saying they don't have any revenue. They will have revenue, but the amount of revenue they will have is not at all sufficient to service the debt. For that, again, they will take a loan. That will become a much bigger debt for them. So that is basically the concept of a debt trap in the context of farmers. So based on the source, we can divide it into formal as well as informal. And many of you will have this doubt. Sir, we discussed earlier RRBs, where a lot of loans will go to agriculture. We have discussed other scheduled commercial banks, where a lot of loans will go to the farmers. Even then, why do they take informal loans? Even in that context, why will they take a loan from informal sector? Reasons are very simple. You go to a bank, you want to apply for a loan. Please tell me, will the bank give you immediately the loan? Think of it. Do you think the bank manager is literally sitting with a suitcase waiting for the farmer? The moment farmer comes and says, I want 10 lakh rupees, the manager says, Lelo. No, right? There is a process. There is a system which you are supposed to follow. So immediately loans are not issued by the bank. Second, even if the farmer wants to take a loan, bank will ask for document A, document B, document C, which may or may not be available with the farmers. Point number three, many of the farmers, they want to take a loan, but the bank says, provide me a collateral, provide me a security. So farmers might simply say, I don't have the security also. So because of various reasons like this, despite so much of a spread of banking services in India, even today, lot of rural credit, I repeat, even today, lot of rural credit actually comes from informal sources, right? Lot of rural credit will come from informal sources. Okay, now based on the term, based on the term, right, the loans can be divided into three types. Now again, please understand, some of the experts will basically say the time period is 12 months. Some of the experts will say 15 months. You don't worry, remember it. Short term loans generally from 12 to 15 months. From 12 to 15 months, the duration for the loan is around this time period. For what purposes the farmers will take short term loans? They will take it for purchasing fertilizers, they'll take it for purchasing seeds, they will take it for purchasing cattle feed, etc. Then there is a medium term, which is generally around 12 to 15 months and above that, right? More than 12 to 15 months. So whenever you take a loan, a farmer takes a loan for a duration more than right? This period, but up to 60 months, that is up to 5 years. This is called as a medium term loan. This is called as a medium term loan. And for what purposes the farmers will take medium term loan? They want to purchase equipments for the farm. They want to purchase animals which they want to use, right? For example, cattle, etc. They want to dig up a well in the farm, etc. For these kind of purposes, usually farmers will take medium term loan. And finally, the long term loan. In case of long-term loan, the farmers will take a loan for a duration more than 5 years. That is more than 60 months. And for what purposes do you think they will take these loans? The farmers want to purchase one more land. The farmer want to purchase a tractor, etc. So for these kind of purposes, the long-term loans are issued to the farmers. Anybody has a problem regarding the classification of the loans, the types of loans, and the issue why even today lot of loans are taken by the farmers or in rural India from informal sources? So these are the 3 points which I've discussed so far. Okay, can we go forward now? Now, what reforms we have implemented? In order to promote access of this, what reforms we have implemented? Right, first one, PSL. Please do let me know. Have you come across the term PSL? Let me know. Have you come across the term PSL? Some of you are asking for a break. Give me 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, we'll take a break. Don't worry, I'll give a very long break. Do not worry about the break. I'll give you long break. So PSL, what is PSL? Priority sector lending. Priority sector lending. Under priority sector lending, what is the argument? Certain percentage of the loans that you provide, you will have to give it to specific sectors. Right? There is agriculture sector in it, education loans are there, export credit is there, housing loans are there, startup loans are there, weaker sections of the society can take loans under PSL, etc. So please do let me know, having PSL or through PSL policy, right, are we able to promote more access to institutional loans to the agriculture sector? Very simple. Through the concept of PSL, are we able to promote more access to institutional loans to agriculture sector? Yes. That is point number one. Point number two, so don't you think apart from PSL, government is also promoting, that is through RBI, it is also promoting certain types of banks which will target only rural India, which will provide more loans to agriculture sector. For example, regional rural banks. What is the objective of regional rural bank? Do you remember? What is the objective of regional rural bank? One of the objective of RRB was to ensure more and more access to the institutional loans are given to agriculture sector. So targeting was basically rural India. That's the reason it is called as a regional rural bank. And what about SFB? Small finance bank. What was the objective of SFB? They wanted to target marginal and small farmers under SFB. Marginal and small farmers under SFB. And in case of PSL, for scheduled commercial banks, generally the target is 40%. But please tell me, for RRB and SFB, what is the target of PSL? Let me know. For RRB and SFB, what is the target of a PSL? The target of PSL, priority sector lending, is 75%. So I hope you understand. Through the concept of PSL, through different types of banks such as RRBs, SFBs, etc., right? The government as well as the RBI is promoting access to formal loans to the agriculture sector. Even cooperatives will play a very important role. Cooperatives will also provide lot of formal loans to agriculture sector. Next one is a Kisan credit card. Next one is Kisan credit card. Now, what is this concept of a Kisan credit card? Please understand this. A Kisan credit card, basically it's a card that is issued to the farmers who are engaged in cultivation, animal husbandry, fisheries, etc. Right, so these kind of cards will be provided to the farmers, right, who are right, either having their own land, or they are tenant farmers, or they are self-help group, etc. Doesn't matter. Generally targeting agriculture sector, Kisan credit card scheme has been introduced by RBI. It's been more than 2 decades since the introduction of KCC in India. What are we trying to do using Kisan Credit Card? Point number one, we want to provide post-harvest expenses. We want to provide certain loans for taking care of post-harvest expenses. Now, many of you will ask me, sir, what do you mean by working capital, marketing, post-harvest, etc.? Let me give a very simple example here. Once you harvest means whatever crop is there, I will cut the crop, right? Let's say paddy, I will harvest paddy. Now, please tell me, once I harvest, will I require money for warehousing purposes? Let me know. Will I require money for warehousing purposes or not? Right? So, for that purposes, loans can be provided. For that purposes, loans can be provided. Taking care of post-harvest expenses, transportation, warehousing, right? Consumption requirement for farming household, right? Consumption requirement, right? I'm a farmer, I would require money for other purposes, right? Purchasing of food grains, purchasing of milk, purchasing of this, that, etc. Consumption purposes. So for a farming household, there will be a requirement of consumption expenditure. For that also, loans can be taken. Third, working capital for farming asset. For example, I need to repair my, let's say, pump set, right? There is a pump set which I've installed in the farm. This requires maintenance, this requires repairs. Irrigation equipment is there, certain other machinery is there. There is a maintenance requirement, that is expenditure requirement. So working capital for farming assets, for that also I can take a loan. Investment requirement, I want to purchase A, I want to purchase a tool B, I want to purchase tool C, equipment. For that also I can take a loan. And marketing expenses. Marketing means you want to move the food grains from the warehouse to, let's say, a market, right? Transportation is required. You need to get a certificate of quality of food grains, etc. A lot of marketing expenditure is required. For that also you can take a loan. So these are some of the reasons for which the farmers, self-help groups, etc., they can take a loan under the Kisan Credit Card. So the loans are provided under KCC are eligible for interest subvention scheme. The loans which are provided under KCC are eligible for interest subvention scheme. Now, what do you mean by interest subvention scheme? Let me explain this. Let me explain. Imagine here is a farmer. Imagine here is a farmer. The farmer will take a loan from the bank. Okay. The farmer will take a loan from a bank. And when the farmer will take a loan from a bank, automatically certain rate of interest will be applicable. Correct? ROI means rate of interest. Now, let's say hypothetically, rate of interest is 9%. On this loan, let's say hypothetically, rate of interest is 9%. Now, Government of India says this rate of interest is very high for the farmer. It's very high. So what does the government do? Government tells the bank, part of the rate of interest, I will pay it. Let's say 3%. Part of this rate of interest will be paid by Government of India to the bank. Now, if the bank will get 3% of this rate of interest from the government, now can I simply say the farmer doesn't have to pay 9% rate of interest. Farmer will end up paying only 6% rate of interest. Yes or no? Please do let me know. Right? The farmer, right, has to pay the rate of interest to the bank, and the rate of interest is 9%. But Government of India will pay 3% on behalf of the farmer to the bank, which means now the farmer doesn't have to pay 9%, farmer will pay only 6% rate of interest. This is basically interest subvention scheme. This is, in a nutshell, interest subvention scheme. Anybody has difficulty? Please do let me know right now. Anybody has difficulty? Right? The part of the interest, not complete interest. Remember, not complete interest. Part of the interest will be paid by the government, and remaining, right, will be paid by the farmer. This is called as interest subvention scheme. So any loan taken by the farmer under Kisan Credit Scheme or Kisan Credit Card Scheme, that basically part of the interest will be borne by the government of India. So Kisan Credit Card is available at all Indian banks, regional rural banks, as well as cooperative banks as well. Right. So these are certain very important points regarding the concept of KCC. Now, some of you are asking, sir, how much loan is given, right? Which loan is given? My dear, you please tell me. You please tell me. From one farmer to another farmer, do you think loan requirement will be same? Question number one. And second, do you think the bank will give same loan to all the farmers under Kisan Credit Card? Does it make sense to you? No. So from one farmer to another farmer, because understand this, under Kisan Credit Card, we will have different divisions, right? Marginal farmer, small farmer with a land, tenant farmer, etc., etc. So obviously, based on the classification done by the farmer to the farmer, or in what class the farmer will fall, based on that, loans are provided under KCC. Okay, done. So any difficulty regarding the concept of Kisan credit card? If there are no, then we can stop the discussion. We can take it up after the lunch break. If there are any questions, please do let me know right now. But only 4 kg given to people. Why? Satish, please do let me know what is the context of your question here. You're saying, but only 4 kg given to people. Where is it given? The government of India under NFSA says it has to be 5 kgs per person if it is a priority household. Only 5 kg is given, and the state scheme subsidies will it give? Again, please understand, from one state to another state, every state government can have their own schemes. I'll repeat the statement. Every state government can have their own schemes, but from central government under this, it is 5 kgs free of a cost per person if you are a priority household beneficiary. And if you are part of Antyodaya card holder household, it will be 35 kgs for the household. Can we go forward? Are agriculture labor eligible for KCC? Labor, I don't think so. It is given for farming. It is given for farming. If you are working in the field, right, why do you require a KCC, Kisan Credit Card? Okay, any problem? Can we go forward? KCC, in which year it was introduced? I believe it was introduced back in 1998. But anyways, check it. As far as I know, it was in 1998. Okay, any other question? If you people do not have any questions, then we can take a break. Let me know. Any questions? What is long form of PSL? Priority sector lending. What is the long form of PSL? Priority sector lending. We have discussed a priority sector lending under Reserve Bank of India. Please go through that. We have discussed concept of PSL under RBI, monetary policy of RBI. Okay, done then. So let's take a break now. We will restart at 3:20. Take 1 hour break. Take 1 hour break, right? Take a lunch break. We'll restart at 3:20. Okay, take a break. We'll restart at 3:20 again.